Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if this is your first time here. Hi, I'm Jennifer. I make beginner friendly beading tutorials, and today we'll be learning how to make this beautiful beaded plate bag. Let's get to it. To start this project, you need some sugar beads in solid black. We'll be using size 10. You'd also need some acrylic plates. Well, a pair of acrylic plates. This is what they look like. You'd also need your crystal beads. I got about 2 strands. We'll use this in size 8. You'd also need your fishing line, 0.70 millimeters. That is what I always use. You'd also need your studs for the shimmer on the bag, You'd also need a pair of handles. This is the type I got. Lastly, your scissors. Let's get to work. Now, if you look closely at this acrylic plate, you will notice a protective film on it. That is because the true color or the true form of this acrylic plate is meant to be transparent, but there is something on it, so we have to peel that off. Peel everything off. You want to peel off the other side as well, and this is what you should have at the end of everything. So apparently the plate is reflective and we do not want that because it's distracting. I'm just going to cover that up. And now to start the actual work, we're going to pick any holes at random. Then we'll pass our fishing line through that hole. Draw that all the way out. Make sure the ends of the fishing line are equal. Then on each side of our fishing line, I'm going to go ahead to add 1 bead each on each side. So the left, I'll add 1 bead. The right, I'll add 1 bead as well. Then lastly, I will take 1 more bead and cross both ends like this into that bead. Okay, then I'll drag that down, draw that tightly, and this is what we have. Next thing you want to do is to cross both ends of the fishing line into the next hole. Okay, so the right hand side of the fishing line will go to the other side, that is the left, and the left hand side of your fishing line would go to the right. Draw that out, make sure it's tight. The next step, on both sides of your fishing line, you want to add 1 bead each like we did earlier. So on the right you add 1 bead, on the left you add 1 bead, then you take 1 more bead and cross both ends into the last bead you added. Draw that down, tighten it, and this is what you should have. So you know what comes next. Like we did earlier, we want to cross both ends into the next hole. The right goes to the left and the left goes to the right. So we want to keep up with this step till we get all around the plate. I'm going to do this 28 times. I have only done 2. I'm going to do it 28 times. Remember, you add 1 bead on each side, cross with 1, then you go into the next hole. You cross into the next hole. That is what you should do until you get to the 28th hole. Okay, let's go. As I was beading, my fishing line got shorter and I ran out of it, so I'm just gonna pass around my fishing line. You want to follow the pattern with which you made, and when you're done you can choose to tie. Then you just cut out the excess fishing line. Then you add a fresh fishing line right where you stopped and just keep going. I'm finally on the 28th hole. I will go on to pass around my fishing line like we did earlier. Then I'll cut out the excess. Once that is done, I will take a fresh fishing line. Now look closely. On the edge there, the first bead there, I'm going to pass my fishing line through it like this. Okay, I'm going to draw that out. Make sure both ends of your fishing line are equal. Then on the left hand side of my fishing line, I'm going to add 3 beads. Okay, so 1, 2, and 3. I will drag 2 down. Then I'll cross both ends of my fishing line into the last bead. Draw that down. And this is what we have. The next thing I'll do with the right hand side of my fishing line, I will go into the next bead there, pass it through the bead. Then on the left hand side of my fishing line, I would add 2 beads, 1 and 2. Then I'll cross both ends into the last one added. Draw that down, make sure it's very tight, and this is what you should have. So this last step we did, we want to repeat it again, and that is what we'll keep doing until we get all around the bag. Let's go. I'm on the last one now. To complete that, I'll go with my usual routine. On the right, I go into the next bead, and on the left hand side, I'll add 2 beads and cross both ends into the last one. Draw that down, and this is what we have. We are finally done with this part. We are done with this first part. We still have the other part to make. Okay, so right here you can just decide to pass around your fishing line and cut out the excess, but I still have a lot of fishing line left. I do not want to waste it, and I want to turn over to the other side because we still have to do that other side as well. What I'm gonna do is to find a way to get this part of my fishing line to the other side, and that I'm just gonna follow the pattern I did. I will go into that bead first on the left, then go into that other one at the bottom there. I'll just try my best to make sure I get both ends onto the other side. This might seem tricky for beginners, but if you do not want to go through this stress, you can just decide to pass around the fishing line and cut out the excess. Then you just start afresh on the other side. Okay, that turned out fine. Now to proceed, we want to repeat what we did on the other side. We start with what? 3 beads on the left hand side of your fishing line. 1, 2, 3. Drag down 2, then you cross both ends into the last bead. To continue with the right hand side of your fishing line, you go into the next bead. Then on the left hand side, you add 2 beads and you cross both ends into the last one you added. So keep this step up till you eventually finish this part too. This is the finished work, and this is what your work should look like as well. Now on to the next part. It is time to make the body of this bag. We want to start right there at the first bead on the edge, pass our fishing line through it. Draw that out, make sure both ends are of equal length. Then on the left hand side of the fishing line, you will proceed to add 3 beads. 1, 2, 3. Then you cross both ends into the last one you added. Okay, but you want to keep that up like this. Next thing you want to do, with the right hand side of your fishing line, you go into the next bead, pass that through that next bead there, while on the left hand side of your fishing line you will proceed to add 2 beads, 1 and 2. Then you cross both ends into the last one. So this is what we would keep doing until we get all around. But I want you to meet me at the second to the last one, okay? Because the last one is going to be more different than what we usually do. Let's go. I'm on the second to the last. I will complete that now. And finally, I am on the last ring. So this time I won't be adding on my left. This time I'm gonna add on my right. So rather than 2 to the left, close with 1, we're going to add 2 to the right, then we close with the last one. Okay, now it takes us to the other side and not the top, as you can see here. To proceed, I like working with my left, so I'm just going to turn that to the left. Then I'll locate the left hand side of my fishing line. I'll proceed to add 3 beads. 1, 2, 3. Cross both ends into the last one. Drag that all the way down. Then you know what this step is about, yeah? The right hand side goes to the next bead, the left hand side gets 2 beads, and you cross both ends into the last bead added. So that is the step you want to keep going with until you get to the last bead again. Let's go. I'm on the last part now, and I'll proceed with my usual routine. There's no need for me to look out for the left or the right, okay, because I'm finally done. After that, I'm just going to pass around my fishing line and cut out the excess. And this is what we have. We're finally done with this. Make sure you repeat all we've done on the other side of the plate as well. I only created the first step on this side, but this side 2 steps, because this is the size I want. I do not want the bag to be too wide. You can do whatever you prefer. You can make yours 3, 4, however you prefer. So this is where we're gonna stop in today's tutorial. I do not want to overwhelm you all with a lot of information. In our next tutorial, I'm gonna show you how to join the body of this bag together. You'd also learn how to attach the handles to your bag. You'd also learn how to add the other accessories like the crystals and the shimmer. Okay, so I'm gonna see you in my next tutorial. Goodbye.